morning. And welcome to All Souls. I'm so happy to be back in Tulsa with all of you this beautiful spring weekend. You can clap for that. Yes. On this beautiful spring weekend, and it promises to be a beautiful spring week. I see people are still coming in. Welcome to those of you who are joining us online. It's never too early to start sharing your prayer requests, your joys and your sorrows in the chat online. So in just a few minutes, when Reverend Randy prays for all of us, he can lift up what's in your heart and light a candle for your loved ones. I am really thrilled to be here. I plan to be fully present this month of May, my last full month at All Souls. If you're joining us online, if you're on Facebook, please share the link. If you're on Zoom, invite your friends and family to join you. And why don't you all stand up now and greet each other, pass the peace, say good morning.
Good morning. Yes. Good morning. You say? Good morning. Good morning.
Well, hi there.
Thank you. Good morning. And we are so grateful for everyone to be here, and we're grateful for our special guest soloist, Angela Ragsdale. So this morning, this is indeed a day that God has made. Let us then rejoice in it and be glad. Please stand. Let us count our many blessings. Let us be grateful for the capacity to see, hear, feel, and understand. Let us be grateful for the incredible gift of life. And let us be especially grateful for the ties of love that bind us together, giving dignity, meaning, worth, and joy to all our days. Please join us in our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Welcome to All Souls, where we love beyond. Yes.
From all that dwell below the skies, let faith and hope with love arise. Let beauty, truth, and good be sung through every land, by every tongue.
This morning, I invite you to imagine. Imagine that we live in a time and in a world where we all turn to our neighbors in mutual aid, trading eggs for milk, checking in on those who are elderly or alone. Imagine that each of us feels called to wonder, in this moment, what does the world need of me? What are my gifts to give in this time, in our country, and in our world, and in our neighborhood, and in our families? And imagine if, instead of saying, but this is not the world we live in, that we say, and that people all around say with great hope, it's not the world we live in yet. And imagine that what we do here this morning and every time we gather each week helps bring such a reality to the world. Just imagine. And I would invite the children to come down. I've got a message for the children this morning. If you could come down front, we'd love to see you and share my message with you. see you this morning. I wonder if you can tell me what this, do you know what this is? A coupon, right? A coupon. If you can't see it, I've got a coupon. This one's from Sprouts. Great store. I got the coupon for $5 off. All right? $5 off. I have another coupon here. I have one from Ace Hardware, and I can get $5 off here as well. Save $4, save $2. And then look at this. This is the other one. I like this one right here because this is from a company that says I could save $100 on getting my brakes adjusted on my car. $100. $50 to get, if I want to get 4 new tires. The thing about coupons is that they only have this value, this $100, if we take it in and use it for its intended purpose. If we just put it in a recycling bin, it doesn't have its full value, doesn't get realized. Or sometimes we can use stuff like this to start a fire or to line our bird cage, the bottom of our bird cage. When we do that, it might have a little value to it, but it doesn't get really redeemed for its full value. So this month, our theme is redemption. It's a big word. It means different things to different people, but I like to think of it like we do with a coupon. That when we use our life for its intended purpose, we redeem our life for its full value. And what that means is, and what we teach here at All Souls, is that every one of us has gifts, has talents, has something to offer to the world. And when we use what we have to make the world a better place, to give it away, to help others, and sometimes it could just be a smile. When we just smile at someone and make a better day, that could be our contribution that day. Or just to help somebody out, open a door, help them carry something in. But we all have something we can give. And when we use our life for its intended purpose, and like the coupon, we redeem it for its full value. And your life has a lot of value. You matter. That you're alive matters. That you're here matters. And you're really important. So today, in the order of service, if you didn't get one, and if you have one on the back, we included this coupon. It says, this coupon is good for a wonderful life. Use it or lose it. Expiration date, unknown. So if you have one of these, you can take that home, you can cut that out, and maybe keep that and think about that for yourself. What's my purpose? What's my gifts or talents that I can give back to the world? All right, so may your life be redeemed for its full value. May this day be redeemed for its full value by us giving what we can. Thank you very much. That's our children's message for today. And I welcome all of our children to follow Shannon, our religious educator, to your classrooms this morning.
Today we honor the mystery and complexity of life. We acknowledge that life is never static and change is the only permanent thing that we are presented with. But we are thankful that we do not have to traverse this path of life alone. We're grateful for being a part of this community to share our lives' transitions, both joyful and painful. I light a candle this day for actor, singer, and civil rights activist Harry Belafonte, who died last week, for his family. I light a candle for those affected by yet another senseless mass shooting, those that happened in Texas here recently. And from our online viewers and everywhere members, help us celebrate the 74th birthday yesterday of Phil Blackmore. Light a candle for Phil. And Giacomo Tesaro from Italy says, please pray for my friend Gigliola, who's recovering from a lung embolus. And Mother White asked that we help her celebrate her grandchild, Jaden Jamal, as they received their PhD from University of Austin, or UT Austin, this coming week. Invite you now to name aloud someone you wish to be included in this sacred space. Yes. And we light a candle for all those precious names spoken and those unspoken, but who yet remain in our hearts. If you've lost a loved one in the past year, if this Sunday is the closest to the anniversary of that loved one's death, you're invited now to stand in memory for a moment of silence before the prayer. You may be seated. Divine One, who created all things and loves all beings, we come before you in this moment with hearts full of hope and gratitude. We recognize that throughout history, human beings have struggled with feelings of unworthiness and a sense of being lost or disconnected from their purpose. We ask for your help in finding our way back to you, to the path of redemption. May we be reminded that each of us is a unique and precious creation with inherent worth and dignity. No matter our background or beliefs, we are all worthy of love, compassion, and forgiveness. May we learn to see one another with the same eyes of grace that you look upon us. We acknowledge the pain and suffering that has been caused by those who have acted in ways that are hurtful and destructive. We pray for healing and restoration for all, and for the courage and wisdom to work towards a world where such harm is no longer perpetuated. May we also recognize that our own capacity for growth and change. May we have the humility to acknowledge our mistakes and the courage to make amends. May we seek forgiveness and extend it to others, knowing that the journey towards redemption is a lifelong pursuit. We ask for your guidance and wisdom as we navigate this path of redemption, knowing that we are never alone. May we be held in your love and grace, and may our lives be a reflection of the light and goodness that you have placed within each of us. May it be so. Amen. Blessed be Ashe. Namaste.
When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Sing it with me now. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, oh, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, oh, I breathe in. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Just your voices now. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. It was grace that taught my heart to feel. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Oh Lord, through many dangers, toils and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that taught me how to feel.
Thank you, and Angela, with that angelic voice, thank you. And Rick Fortner on the Hammond B3. All right. Thank you all. Matt, David. Wow, I needed that this morning. I needed that. I've been lost, and I've been found, and it feels good when we're found after we've been lost. There are some phrases that we all know, and if I say the first line, I want to see if you can come up with the last to finish it. All right, here we go. It's always darkest before. All right, that's pretty good. No pain, no. Okay, all right. Every dark cloud has a. All right. When given lemons make. All right, see? Each of these well-known sayings that we all know tells us that suffering and struggle can lead to something better. It is such a common idea, and it's so hopeful that many people, they like to get to the lemonade without having to taste the lemons. I remember seeing in an in-flight magazine one time when I was on an airplane, it was an advertisement promoting a process called liposculpting. Have you heard of that? Anybody? You done that? Anybody? You're going to admit it that you've done it? So apparently that they can extract fat from your belly and your buttocks and put it into your chest and biceps and calves. What a deal. Today, it seems like we can get thin without dieting, and we can gain muscle and shape without exercise. People want to gain without the pain. Or here's another famous phrase for you. We want to have our cake and... Right. Or we might say that we want to have our cake and turn it into muscle. But despite all the technological advances that we've had in society, no one has invented lipo-spirituality. There's no quick fixes to enlightenment, no shortcuts to redemption. Generally, redemption is about restoring something, getting back something that's been lost. For most Christians, it's about redeeming our goodness due to the belief that we were born with original sin. For Buddhists and Hindus, it's about being redeemed from a perpetual cycle of death and rebirth to our original state of oneness. Now, as I told the children this morning in our children's message, I like to think of redemption like a store coupon. A coupon has no intrinsic value until we use it. A coupon that ends up, as I said, like in a recycling bin, it doesn't get claimed for its full value. And in the same way, if our life can get redeemed for its full value when we use it for its intended purpose, if we can figure out what that purpose is, what are those gifts that we have? We can cash in our life, if you will, on this planet, in this time, this one precious life that we have, by figuring out, what do I have to offer to others and to this world? You know, Harry Belafonte, who died this week, he died at 96 years old, and he used his fame and his fortune and his notoriety to advocate for civil rights and for human rights. He was a unique figure in the history of the black freedom struggle here in the United States. He was a powerful voice for justice because he leveraged his celebrity, what he had, for the good of others. Did you know that in 1957, Belafonte sold more records than Frank Sinatra and Elvis Presley? And he did that even though he refused to perform in the South from 1954 to 1961 because of the treatment that black artists received in the South. Having to go into the back of the club. You couldn't eat in the club. All those kinds of indignities. Couldn't use the same bathrooms. So whereas Sinatra and Elvis performed all over the country, Belafonte sold more records only singing to half of the country. Belafonte was a confidant for Martin Luther King Jr., one of the few people who Dr. King turned to when he needed advice. And he provided Dr. King's family with money. You know, Dr. King only made $8,000 a year from his church and his ministry. And so Harry Belafonte said, we need you traveling around the country. We need you to be the voice of this struggle. I will provide some money for your children, for clothes, to go to school, for books, for your family to pay the mortgage so that you can do what you need, what we need you to be doing. And then in 1963, he bailed Dr. King out of the Birmingham jail. And he raised $50,000 more to release other civil rights protesters from the Birmingham jail. And he contributed to the 1961 Freedom Rides when young people, black and white, crossed the country in buses, going into areas where black and white were not supposed to be together. Some of those buses being firebombed and attacked. He supported voter rights drives. He helped organize the 1963 March on Washington. And during the Mississippi Summer of 1964, Belafonte bankrolled the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, which was supported by John Lewis and other young leaders, helping them to find their voice in the struggle. In other words, Harry Belafonte used his talents and his gifts and those that were given and those that were acquired by him in the service of something larger than himself. By using it this way, I'd say he redeemed his life for its full value. What causes a person to be generous, to sacrifice for others, to rise above self-centeredness, to be there for someone else? In this tradition, Unitarian Universalism that this church comes from, we say that every person has value and worth to offer. And that it's the role of religion in our spiritual life to help us to discover and learn how that we can develop and how we can share our gifts. And we need this because sometimes life gets in the way of us doing the right thing. We fall short, even of our own expectations of ourselves. We become addicted, or we give in to temptation, or we procrastinate, or we suffer the effects of trauma, or we just make a mistake that hurts someone else who we love. There are a lot of reasons that we fall short. But when we do, we kind of need a recipe of some kind for how do we redeem ourselves or redeem the situation. And that's what I want to talk about today, and I want to talk about a special sauce that brings this whole recipe together. I'm going to get to that in just a minute, but first, I want us to look at the story of Zacchaeus from the Christian Bible. If you know that story, we're told that Zach was short in stature. The word stature is translated from the Greek word helikia, which can also be translated as character. So he was short in character. He was a Jew, but he was also the chief tax collector for the Romans. And he was known for entering people's homes and taxing them on their property and sending the money to support the Roman Empire and the Roman army that was keeping them occupied. And he would inflate the numbers of the taxes, and he would take the extra money off the top for himself. That's how tax collectors were paid back then. The Roman Empire said, you get us what we want, and you can take anything else you want for you. According to the Bible, he was very rich. And to understand what being a tax collector was like back then, I want you to kind of imagine if Russia were to be successful in taking over and occupying Ukraine. And a Ukrainian person took a job collecting taxes from his neighbors to give to Vladimir Putin to support Russia and the Russian army that was occupying them. And the man was paid whatever amount of money he wanted to take above and beyond what Putin expected from him. And the person made himself rich off collecting taxes from his neighbors. That person would probably be despised by the entire town. Well, that was Zacchaeus. Now, word had spread in Zacchaeus' time and in his village that there was this itinerant Jew named Jesus who was coming to town. And it was said that he could teach and he could heal and he could tell a great story. And in other words, in the ancient Near East, he was a rock star. And so the crowds gathered like there was a festival about to happen, like there was a parade that was about to happen, and the people were lining the streets and lining their yards. But Zacchaeus wanted to see him, but since he was so short in stature, he couldn't see over to other people. So it says he climbed up a sycamore tree. And when Jesus and his entourage made their way into town, Jesus saw Zacchaeus up in that tree, and he said, Zacchaeus, come down, and I'm going to be a guest in your home for dinner tonight. And as you can imagine, the people were appalled. What? Of all the people in Jericho, why would Jesus want to dine with that jerk? Now, some of the people probably assumed, well, Jesus is just like any one of those other money-grabbing preachers who cozies up to the major donors, and regardless of their principles and their ethical standards and how they live their lives, for the money. So Zach, who entered people's homes with greed and with power and intimidation to cheat people for his own benefit, experiences Jesus entering his home with love and acceptance. Through feeling this love and acceptance, Zacchaeus, shocked, he hadn't felt that in a long time, shocked him into transformation. Shocked him into finally recognizing the person he was born and meant to be. He was lost, but then he was found. When he was born, he was given the name Zacchaeus, which means pure and innocent from the Hebrew scriptures, Zakai. Like you and me and like all of us, he was born pure and innocent. But through the course of growing up, he made decisions that debased his name and the sacredness of his life and its potential. We don't know all of his story. Often I think to myself, when I can't figure out how could somebody do what they've done, I realize I don't know all of their story. And you have your stories, and I have mine, the things we've done. The things that we've done that have caused a piece of our integrity to be left behind, broken. And the story of Zacchaeus gives us a recipe of how we can be found when we're lost. Let's see what the story teaches us. After experiencing this love and acceptance, which he hadn't experienced in such a long time because he was being an awful person, his deeds, Zacchaeus came out of his house, it says, and he addressed the large crowd who had gathered, probably to protest what the heck Jesus was doing in there. And he said, I'm sorry. I am sorry. I've been cheating you for years. You know it, and so do I. And I feel awful and ashamed. I've gotten rich at your expense, and I apologize. And to make things right, I'll repay each one of you from whom I've stolen. In fact, I'll repay you back 4 times the amount that I cheated you of. And today, he also said, I'm giving half of everything I have to the poor of this town. It's the original Hollywood ending. But the reason that it's in the Bible is it's a teaching story. It gives us the recipe for a good apology. It starts with saying the simple but demanding words, I'm sorry. I am genuinely sorry. But that alone is not enough. A good apology also expresses how we feel about what we've done. I'm really embarrassed that I did this, or I am really disappointed in myself. However you feel, expressing that, but making sure that it's sincere. And then, to complete a full apology requires us to offer or ask, what can I do to make it right? And then to do it. Many of us were never really taught how to make a proper apology. There are 3 steps. Saying I'm sorry is the first. Then expressing sincere remorse. I am embarrassed about what I did. And then finally offering to do what we can to make it right. Now, every relationship can't be fixed. Every situation can't be set right. But many can, and it begins with a good, solid, honest, sincere apology. Now, you may be able to tell that I know something about the subject of which I speak this morning. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've unfortunately hurt many people at different times in my life, never intentionally, never mean-spiritedly. But I've had to learn how to say I'm sorry. And what I've learned is that there are 2 kind of layers of forgiveness that need to be separated out. And one is external. It involves how the other person or how the world will receive your apology. Will you be welcomed back into relationship? Will you be redeemed in the eyes of the community? And this part's out of our control. We can only do at that point our best to say I'm sorry. And then the second layer is the part that is internal. It's our part inside. Can I live with myself? Can I forgive myself? To acknowledge our own humanity and our own imperfections and choose to be better going forward, because we can't change the past. We can only change the future. So what is that special sauce? For that, I'm turning to what Jesus does in the story. He loved and accepted Zacchaeus despite what he'd done, and that's what transformed and saved him. The crazy thing is that so often we withhold our love from people when we don't think they've done the right things. From our children, especially when they're teenagers and they act rebellious, we can be tempted to withhold our love. From our spouses and our partners, when some of their actions start to grate on us or they hurt us, we withhold. From people at work who annoy us or who are inept or unethical. From our adult children who sometimes make choices that break our hearts, and scare us. And sometimes we even withhold love from ourselves. When we can't forgive ourselves for doing something that we feel is inept or doesn't meet our own expectations, then we can withhold love from ourselves and have a hard time just loving who we are. So even when Zacchaeus was at his most corrupt, most selfish, most sinful, worst, Jesus still loves him, sees in him that purity of spirit that is his true nature. And in feeling and experiencing that love, Zacchaeus was transformed. That's the special sauce. Love. And a Christian interpretation of the story would be that even when you are at your worst, God still loves you. Or regardless of belief, it says no matter what, you are lovable. You are redeemable. There is a pureness inside of you that you were born with, and you can return to it at any time. No matter what you've done in the past, no matter even what other people might do with or think about you, as long as you have breath, you are capable of redeeming your life. Externally, hopefully. Internally, absolutely. And you can even be a source of other people's redemption. Now, this is powerful. By not withholding your love, but using it to heal and inspire and save. By not pulling back when somebody does something wrong, but by trying to open up your heart and love. If you can. We're not all deities. We're not all that good. We have to forgive ourselves for that too sometimes. But when we have the capacity to love someone else despite what they've done and show up with that love, it is a special sauce that can change everything like no other. So let's practice saying the most powerful words that anyone can say. Repeat after me. I'm sorry. I love you. Amen. Thank you.
Come from the fire, living in the fire. Go back to the fire, turn the world around. We come from the fire, living in the fire. Go back to the fire, turn the world around. We come from the water, living in the water. Go back to the water, turn the world around. We come from the water, living in the water. Go back to the water, turn the world around. We come from the mountain, living on the mountain. Go back to the mountain, turn the world around. We go from the mountain, living on the mountain. Go back to the mountain, turn the world around. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Oh, so is life. Oh, so is life. Do you know who I am? Do you know who you are? See we one another clearly. Do you know who we are? Do you know who I am? Do you know who we are? See we one another clearly. Do we know who we are? Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Water make the river, river wash the mountain. Fire make the sunlight, turn the world around. Heart is of the river, body is the mountain. Spirit is the sunlight, turn the world around. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Oh, so is life. Oh, so is life. Should we have them join us? They want to join us. Try it with us. This is that O part. We'll help you. Oh, here we go. Oh, so is life. Ah, so is life. Oh,
turn the
There we
world
go.
around.
We come from the fire.
Living
Now
in
watch
the
'em.
fire. Go back
Watch
to
'em.
the fire. Turn the world around. We come from the water. Living in the water. Go back to the water. Turn the world around. We come from the water. Living in the water. Go back to the water. Turn the world around. Living in the water. Go back to the water. Turn the world around. We come from the water. Living in the water. Go back to the water. Turn the world around. So is life. Oh,
So
is life. Oh, so is life.
all right. Give it up for the ministers.
That song was written by Harry Belafonte. Thank you all for singing along. You're all in the choir now. And don't forget your coupon in your orders of service. Think about how you're going to redeem your life and use it for all your worth. And you are worth a lot. And it's, please, if you've never filled out one of these cards, please fill out a Connect card so we can stay connected to you and you can get more involved in this amazing community. If you're visiting with us for the first time, there are bags like this in the foyer and they actually have something in them for you to take with you. So please grab one of these colorful bags in the foyer and take it with you. I have just a few announcements. Did you know that 1 in 4 children go to bed hungry every night in Tulsa? It is just devastating. But we can redeem ourselves by doing something about that. And this Wednesday, May 3rd, you can join us for our Empty Bowls fundraiser. We have it every year in the spring. It supports our community resource bank and helps us reduce hunger in this city. We have a really large food ministry in this church. So please join us Wednesday evening at May 3rd, this Wednesday at 5:30. There will be beautiful bowls made by local artists that you can bid on. There's a live auction. So look forward to seeing you there. I was thinking, listening to all the amazing music this morning, so great to have you here, Angela, this morning, Angela Ragsdale, that it's possible, I think, that God would agree with me that music, just music, and Angela singing like that redeems all of us. I think that is the power of music to not only move us and heal us and save us. And so because of that, and these extraordinary musicians in this church, there is an all-choir spring concert. What day is that on, Rick Fortner?
It's a week from today, May 7th, a week from today.
Did you get that? At what time?
What time is it? Look in your bulletin. 3 o'clock. Thank you.
What day? What time? Okay, I'll see you there. The Cherubs Choir, the Children's and Youth Choir.
Youth, adults, and chamber
Youth,
choir.
adults, everybody
Right.
singing amazing music.
Thank you,
Stir
Brooke.
your soul.
Yes.
Also, I hope you have your calendars out. You can pull out your phones now. You are invited on May 10th, the Wednesday after, at 5:30, because we and all our staff want to show you how much we appreciate you and all you do for this community. And all we ask is that you please tell us if you're coming so that our super chefs, Jerry and John, can make enough food for you, okay? So that's May 10th. Let us know if you're coming. We really want to show you how much we appreciate you. That's at 5:30. There is a women's retreat planned for May 12th and May 13th, Friday and Saturday. What is a goddess? And I always think, what kind of goddess are you? So please come together to take care of ourselves, take care of each other, creative projects, discussion of women's issues. You can register now. And I'm not sure a candle got lit for Mother White's grandchild, Jaden Jamal, who graduated with their PhD from the University of Austin this spring. Congratulations. We are about to collect this morning's offering. If you'd like to make a donation to the church instead of the organization I'm about to talk about, then please put your donation in this envelope and mark it to All Souls. If you haven't made your pledge yet for 2023, we would welcome your pledge. You are the people who keep this church open, so thank you for your support. Our offering today goes to, the Reed Community Foundation, which changes lives and creates future leaders in the greater Tulsa metropolitan area by showing love, the magic sauce, teaching life skills, and building healthy minds and bodies. We will now gratefully receive this morning's offering.
Just imagine. Imagine what a world it could be. If you're here, I hope you'll stay for some coffee and refreshments in our Alliance room. We also have a bookstore, and if you're visiting, as Barbara said, grab one of the visitor gift bags, and we just love to get to know you. Fill out the Connect card. If you didn't now, you can do it out there. If you're on Zoom, stay on Zoom and have a conversation with the others who are there. Make community with folks from Italy and Africa and everywhere else who are watching. It's pretty exciting on Zoom as well. So great to be together. Just remember, it's hard sometimes getting through this life. We aspire and have such good intentions, and we want to do so well. Courageous love we talk about here, loving beyond belief, and we all want that for ourselves and one another and for this community, but we don't always get it right. We can't. Nobody bats 1,000, and we make mistakes, and we hurt other people, and we fall short of even our own expectations of ourselves because we're sometimes greedy and sometimes selfish and sometimes just too busy. But it's almost never too late to turn yourself around. May we be inspired by the great people who've come before us to remember that despite whatever we've done, there's always a chance to give of our gifts. Can't change the past, but we can shape the future. Go and be blessed and be a blessing. Amen.